Hey friends, welcome to Right Off Track. My name is Anya Smith if you are new here, and today we're diving into an exciting space. As you know, I'm passionate about growth, and along my entrepreneur journey, I realized just how much an inner journey this process is. So today we're going to dive into this exciting space of manifestation, human design, and then also add a unique element of being a mom and an entrepreneur on that journey. Joining me today is my amazing guest, Jennifer Lay. Jennifer, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Anya. Yeah, so a little bit about me. So I was a recruiter in tech. I worked in tech for many years. I was fortunate to work at Apple, at Meta. And actually, that's where Anya and I met. We worked at Meta together. Shout out to the OG PhD team. Um, and I left corporate a few years ago to start my own business. Outside of career, I was very active in the pageant community. I grew up with a passion for pageantry. And so people know me from my work back then in pageantry. I was very fortunate to serve as Mrs. World in 2019. And that was the year that I was able to travel around the world and shed light on my nonprofit, Female for Tech. So Female for Tech, just very briefly, was a nonprofit that I started. It was inspired by my work at Meta. I wanted to help close the gender gap. And so through that nonprofit, we award scholarships to girls who want to pursue a career in tech. Fast forward to present day. And what I'm doing now, I am a spiritual life coach. And I founded Manifestment, which is a personal development company. And through Manifestment, my mission is to help guide individuals on their self-growth and spiritual journey through the teachings and through the principles of manifestation, law of attraction, human design. But I think what makes it very unique is that there is a blend of traditional personal development. And so the way I like to explain it is it's a balance, a blend and a balance of logic and intuition, of strategy and spirituality. And so that is a little bit about me.
And as we heard, you have an avid experience, you have a vast experience in the corporate realm in making things happen for yourself. So it's not a matter of wishing, you're also doing it through experience. So I'm curious, as we talk about manifestation, could you explain to people who may be newer to this concept what it is and maybe some common misconceptions that people might have about this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So manifestation is all about how your reality is created by your thoughts, your beliefs. It all starts from within. And so you may have heard the saying, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So it really starts from what you're telling yourself, from the narratives in your mind, from the things that you believe. And so one of the ways that I like to explain it, it is the seed and root that bears the fruit. And so the seed, the root, below the surface, you can't see it, but ultimately that is what determines what you harvest. And so when you think about your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, all of these things that you can't see, those are actually the things, those are the catalysts that creates your reality. And so manifestation, a misconception around manifestation is that you have to learn how to manifest. The reality is that we're manifesting all the time. We're creating all the time because we're thinking all the time. We all have beliefs. We all, have a certain story that we're always telling ourselves. And so we're always creating our reality. We're always manifesting. But as a coach and through manifestment, my mission is to help people understand how to create consciously. How do you create your life by design? How do you take something that you desire, a vision that you see in your mind, how do you turn that into reality?
It's beautiful. And what makes you think about is that no matter, if you think it's fluffy, but we have our things that we say to us every day. We have our habits, right? We have our programs. And a lot of times that, programming, the things that we repeat in our head is what creates our day-to-day actions and influence. So there's a correlation. There's a path that happens. There's a coordinated process that happens because of what we think in our heads. Meditation for me is something that isn't just a woo-woo thing. It's about reflecting on the habits, the thoughts that create our day-to-day actions, that give us a space to think about what can I achieve? What limits am I setting out for myself? So manifestation is, again, a mixture of practical reflection and action. It's not just a fluffy, wishing for space. And for you, Jennifer, how do you get into this? Because you seem like on paper, you had everything together. Why did you even find it interesting to manifest more?
Yeah, happy to share that story, but I just want to add to what you said because it's true. It's our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs that influence the actions that we take. It's all that internal talk and dialogue that sets up the action and the attraction. So part of it is the more strategic, pragmatic side of things of, you know, if you feel confident in yourself, you're going to take action. If you don't feel confident in yourself, if you're not in the best headspace, you're not going to feel as motivated, right? But I think the other side to this, when I say it sets up the attraction part, is that that's where the law of attraction comes in. Like attracts like. And so whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, whatever you believe, you're basically emitting a certain energy out into the world. And that is going to determine what you attract into your life, the people, the opportunities. And so I just wanted to add to what you said, because I believe that that's really important. And then in terms of how I got started. So going back to when I was in tech, working in corporate, I was very burnt out. Before I became a mom, I was very career oriented, very ambitious, career driven. And that didn't really leave me when I became a mom. And so then I was trying to be the best mom I could be while also trying to juggle my career and trying to like move up the corporate ladder and, you know, get promoted and just do the best that I could in my job. And that was just a recipe for burnout. And so I was stressed. And also at the time I was the breadwinner of my family. And so there were feelings of resentment of just, you know, why do I have so much on my plate? Like, why do I have to do so much? And then I know that you and I talked about this previously. My dad was very ill for many years. And so that took a toll on me. You know, as his daughter, I felt like I had the responsibility to take care of him and to go with him to his appointments and translate and all of those things. So I just had a lot going on. I didn't realize how much it was affecting me and how much it was just affecting not only my happiness, but my health also. Ultimately, in 2020, my husband and I decided to part ways. So we went through the divorce process. It was very difficult trying to figure out how to co-parent during the pandemic. And then again, all of the responsibilities, all the competing priorities, I just felt really lost. I felt lost. I felt like I needed to do something to save myself because no one was going to come save me. I had to just start looking inward. And that was when I just had this insatiable curiosity to learn about spirituality. I think The Secret on Netflix is what kind of sparked the whole law of attraction and like manifestation journey. But yeah, I think it was just wanting to find a better way, knowing intuitively that there had to be a better way, seeing other people live happy, successful lives. I felt like if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. And so there's just something that they know, or there's something that they're doing, and I just need to figure out what that is. And so I just completely immersed myself in all things personal development, went off social media, and just poured into myself. And I saw the transformation. My life didn't like shift overnight, but I did see immediate improvements. And that's what inspired me to keep going and keep going. So that is how my journey started, was at just a very low point in my life.
Thank you so much for your vulnerability. Again, it reminds me that sometimes it's in the lowest moments when we are forced to think about another path. And it also reminds me, like, oftentimes we're trained to go through this corporate ladder, right? Where here is how we should be happy. Here's what we should be achieving. And similar to you, I had a point in my career where I was thinking, there has to be another way. I was feeling so stressed. And like at the end of the day, you know, I was getting mad at my kids because they wanted attention. And I was like, well, I need to do more things. I was like, this can't be the way to live. You can't just be waiting for retirement. You can't be like waiting just for those few vacations or weekends to start living. And so that's where it was similar to you. I was thinking, like, let's see what else is out there, because what's the risk? What's really the risk if I decide that I'm going to explore another option that could potentially be better than this? And so manifestation is still really new to me. And so is law of attraction. But it also was a path of like uncovering what is holding me back. So can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned law of attraction, like what does law of attraction have to do with manifestation? And like, how can we start like diving into that? I know it's like a multi-part question, but let's talk about like, how does law of attraction, like what is it? What does it have to do with manifestation? And then let's dive into the practical application.
Yeah. So law of attraction, simply put, it's like attracts like. And so whatever energy you're emitting, you're going to see that reflected back. That's what's going to determine what you attract into your life, not just people, but also opportunities. And so the way that fits into manifestation is that, and I'll walk you through the framework in a little bit, but it is the third step, which is the attraction part. So just, I guess maybe just very briefly, the 3 steps that I teach in my program and what I follow myself is believe, ask, attract. And so the third step of the process is the attraction part. And so with law of attraction, again, going back to the energy that you're emitting, what we said earlier when we started the episode is that our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, all of those things carry vibration. All of those things, you can think of it as energy. And so whatever you're thinking determines the state of being that you're in, right? And so that is going to determine what you attract into your life. And so if you're manifesting a specific goal, or you have a certain dream, desire, whatever we want to call it, dream, goal, desire, there's something that you are pursuing. Well, on that journey to actualize that, to realize that, you're going to see things manifest a lot more effortlessly when you're attracting the right people into your world, when you're attracting the right opportunities. And I've seen that happen so much in my life where it wasn't because it was out of force. Like it wasn't that it was sheer will and, just brute forcing things to happen. It's a very serendipitous thing where you meet the right people at the right time. You're presented with the opportunity when you're ready for it. And that leads to another thing that leads to another thing. And then once you've manifested your dream or your goal, you look back and you're able to connect all the dots, right? And so that is how I like to explain law of attraction. It's that it helps you on your journey of achieving your goals in a way that's going to feel a lot easier. Yes, you can force things to happen. Of course, I've done it, but the reality is that when you force things, there's going to be a lot of stress. There's going to be a lot of pressure. There's just going to be a lot of resistance. But when you're manifesting consciously and you're using the law of attraction, then you're going to see that things just flow easier. That doesn't mean there won't be challenges. It doesn't mean that there won't be hard times, but for the most part, it's going to be a lot easier overall.
Absolutely. It reminds me, I mentioned I have a coach, and she said that the energy you put into achieving goals is the same energy you're going to have when you achieve it. And that made me really reflect on like, how am I doing things? Because if you're constantly grinding, and I've had it happen myself, like I would grind, I get to a goal, and that wouldn't be enough. Like, so I thought like, oh, here I'm going to get there, that's going to be enough, but it wasn't. So if you're somebody listening to this and you've had situations where seemingly the pattern keeps reappearing, where whatever promotion you get, whatever goal, it's not enough, it had me reflect like, there has to be another way. And another way I like to think about manifestation is like a GPS. So oftentimes, like if you get very clear on what you want and you think about GPS, like you give it one coordinate of where you want to go, it's going to like start thinking about it. Maybe we'll adjust paths because things will change, but it's going to be clear on that. Versus every day we're running more like a GPS, but you put 100 coordinates into it of where you want to go. And this is just the very end. I kind of want to go there, but you like have all these things that subconsciously, consciously are holding you back. And you're just like, I have no freaking idea how I'm going to get there. It's a lot harder. So manifestation is like getting clear and making that GPS work for you on an energetic level.
Absolutely. Getting clear on your intentions, getting clear on your goal, that is so important. That's the second step of the framework. It's the believe, ask. Asking as well. You got to know what you want to ask for it, right? And so it's really creating the space and the time to ask yourself, what do I want? What is the goal? What is the intention? And so, yeah, I love that. What your coach said, it really does make a big difference.
And it's an exciting process. Like here we talk about it and it can be a little daunting to start with, a little intimidating, but let's talk about the fun part. You talked about this framework a little bit out of order, but do you want to talk about like the framework as a whole and maybe some tips for people who want to get started on this journey?
Yes. So where did this framework come from? Let's start there. So when I started my journey, it was never with the intention of, I'm going to be a life coach, I'm going to teach this. It was, no, how can I help myself? Right. Like, how can I achieve my goals? And also, I don't know if you saw that flicker, but the weather and everything. So
let's manifest this happens.
So like I said, I didn't embark on this journey with the intention of creating manifesto or becoming a coach. It was because I wanted to just learn and see what I can apply to help myself and to be able just to live a more fulfilled, happy, peaceful life. Mm-hmm. And so with that said, I read so many books, and I'll just share some of the people that resonated with me a lot in case people who are listening are interested. Bob Proctor, Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, Rhonda Byrne, she was the producer of The Secret, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Dr. Joe Dispenza. So all of these people, I started following them, reading their books, watching their videos. And for me, the way I learn best is to have a framework. And I feel like in this space, there's a lot going on. And I feel like a lot of times too, people are saying the same thing in different ways. And so my kind of like analytical mind started creating a framework around everything that I was learning so that I can actually apply it. And so Believe, Ask, Attract is based on everything that I learned and how I was able to organize that information in my mind. So the first step is believe. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe also that there is a higher power, whether you believe in God, some people want to refer to this infinite presence as the universe, like whatever, resonates with you, but believing that you are guided on your journey. So earlier you mentioned about the GPS, and in my program, I often tell the members that you have to trust that you're going to be guided on your journey. You put in the destination, which is you getting clear on your intention and your goal, and you have to trust that you are going to be guided there. And there are many different ways there. So don't, be so attached to how you're going to get there, but you will be guided on the path. And the thing is, you have to be in motion in order to be guided. Just like when you're driving in the car, right? It's not going to, like, the GPS is not going to tell you where to go until you actually start driving. So you need to start taking action. You got to, you got to have faith. You got to have enough self-confidence to just get into motion. And then through being in motion, you're going to be guided. And some people like to call that your intuition. Your intuition will tell you, hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should turn right. Maybe we should, go straight, whatever that is. And so believing in yourself, believing in the fact that you are guided on this journey, all of those things are really important. And then part of this step 2 is identifying what limiting beliefs you might have that might be keeping you stuck. And so, for example, someone might want to manifest a lot of money, but at the same time, they might be holding onto an unconscious belief that money is bad, that, well, if I earn more money, I'm going to have more problems or like more stress. And so you really have to identify what limiting beliefs may be blocking you from achieving that goal or manifesting that desire. And so just a quick tip here is journaling, right? So at the top of the paper, let's say you want to manifest more money. You can put, I want to manifest more money, but, and then see what comes to mind. But what? But I don't think it's possible. But I think that, you have to be born into wealth, but I don't want to work even more than I already am. See what you write down in like a stream of consciousness, right? Don't think so much about it, but just write down what comes after that but. And whatever comes after that but are the beliefs that you have that might be keeping you stuck and things that you need to work on reprogramming. So that's step 1 at a very high level. Step 2 is the ask phase, or the ask phase in the program. But like the second step is to get clear on what you want, right? A lot of people come into my program and they know that they want more. They know that they're capable of more, but they don't necessarily know exactly what that vision looks like. And the interesting thing is that when you do the belief work, when you get rid of the limiting beliefs that you can't be, do, and have anything that you desire, when you start building your self-confidence and once you have more faith that you are guided, it actually becomes a lot clearer what you want. Yeah. So let me just say that for people who are feeling kind of lost and feeling like, I don't know what I want. Yeah. But gaining clarity is really important. And the tip that I have for you guys, for the listeners, is to create time for self-discovery. Whether that is journaling, whether that is taking personality tests. I actually have members in my program take different tests to see what resonates with them, because a lot of times we can't put into words the things that we intuitively know, or like the things that we're good at. We may not be able to recognize that because we're just good at it. We don't even realize it's a strength, right? And so I think even taking time to do personality tests can be helpful. It's not meant to put you in a box. It's just meant to give you information to see what actually sticks out to you and what resonates with you, and put into words what maybe is difficult for you to put into words. Now, once you make time to get to know yourself, that vision will become clear over time. And I think another aspect to gaining clarity is seeing what is possible by looking at other people and what they're doing, and seeing what inspires you. So finding evidence in your life of people who are doing amazing things, see what you're drawn to. And for some people, it is this feeling of envy at first, almost, or like this feeling of jealousy, but actually that is just telling you what you might want to be experiencing as well. And so don't see it as a negative thing. With that said, I do think that we want to move from feeling envious to like feeling excited for people and like celebrating them. But that can give you a clue into what is it that you want to create in your life? What kind of life do you want to design and live? The third step to the framework is attraction. So part of this is taking action, but then also a part of this, as I said, is the attraction part. And so this is being aware of the state of being that you're in. And so in the realm of manifestation, a lot of people talk about your vibration. What is the energy that you're in? Because that is what's going to determine what you attract. It sets up the attraction. And so in the program, I actually have the members do a vibration audit. So there's different areas of your life where you take inventory and you're like, what are the things that are stressing me out? You know, what are the areas of my life that's creating stress, that's creating anxiety, and what can I do? Because once you have that awareness, now it's, well, what can I change? Can I change my perspective around it? Can I change my actions around it? One of my favorite quotes is, awareness precedes choice and choice precedes change. You can't change unless you actually know what needs to be changed. And so my advice when it comes to this is do an audit. You know, see what are the things that are stressing you out, write it down on a piece of paper, and then just ask yourself, what can I do to shift my state of being? Because you have a choice. It's always within your control. You can either change the way you're looking at it, or you can physically do something different. And so like a really, you know, simple example, and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I used to feel really stressed out about doing the dishes. So mama's out there, dishes, laundry, all those things. Like, you know, it's not necessarily something that brings me enjoyment. It feels like a chore, but actually, I know. And so in that moment, right, you have to ask yourself, well, I can either change my perspective around it, or I can change what I'm doing. If you're going to change what you're doing, maybe it's hiring help. What do you call it? People hire like just cleaners, right? Like I know that
services.
Some people do that. Cleaning service, and that works for them. But if you don't want to do that, or if you know you can't financially do that right at the moment, how can you change your perspective around it? And so for me, what I said was, you know what? I am grateful for a pile of dishes because that means that there was food on the table. I'm grateful for the pile of dishes because it means that we ate at home instead of eating out. Also, instead of seeing this as a chore, let me see this as a meditation moment. Let me see this as time to slow down. Let me put in like a podcast. Let me see this as me time. And that completely shifted my energy. And I actually look forward to doing the dishes now, believe it or not. Same thing with folding laundry. I used to think, oh, I have to fold the laundry now. But now it's like, oh, I'm kind of excited because now I can just listen to a podcast or just take a moment and do nothing, like, and think of nothing. I had to really train myself to be okay with not being productive. And so change what you're thinking or change what you're doing. I think that is the power in becoming aware of the things that might be creating stress in your life. So believe, ask, attract. And then the reason, I guess to kind of wrap that up really quickly is just, why is that important? Because again, going back to like attracts like, when you're manifesting something, you want to make sure that you're in a positive state of being so that you can feel inspired to take action. So you can feel motivated. So you can be showing up as the best version of yourself and doing your best work, right? But then also when you're emitting that energy, you're going to and just trust me on this, you're going to attract the right people and the right opportunities, the right circumstances. It's not going to happen when we're stressed, when we're feeling anxious, when we're worried, when we're fearful.
Yeah.
And so we create flow when we can learn to let go.
Yeah. And for everybody listening, that makes me think about when you walk, say you're just on the sidewalk and you see somebody walking with just a warm, engaging smile. You sense that energy. And maybe you're even having a hard day, but you want to smile back. It's that energy attracting the similar in you. Versus like when you're stressed out, do you want to be around anybody? Does anybody naturally want to like give you a hug? Probably not. They might be worried about you. But like even in those things where we don't even think about it as energy, we sense how we feel different. And as you mentioned, we have to get used to not always focusing about productivity, but like how are we using our energy, especially moms, when we know what it's like to just be done at the end of the day. Like you're just done. You're exhausted. Like, I can't wait for the kids to go to bed. Woohoo. But to your point, we can look back at those things that are taking a lot of our energy. It's like, how am I applying it? Is it serving me? Can I reframe it or change something about it? Because the same energy that we're putting into everything is what we have like to do all the amazing things we want to do. So part of the times, like maybe we just don't have an energy for ourselves to manifest because we're depleting it in all these other sources. So it gives you that reflection space. And if I can just add one more thing, when people are hearing them, I'm like, yes, this all sounds great, but how do I even begin to trust? Like, how do I even begin to trust that something more is possible for me, that there is a higher power? And one thing I did for myself as a new entrepreneur who just jumped to this space, I was like, I want to trust. And I believe that this is, a better option than what I have right now. So what if even, psychologically safe, I give myself a month, I give myself a week, whatever that trial, like, I know I'm not going to die, but I just fully commit to this concept and see what happens. And that's like what worked really well for me is like, I just gave up the control that I'm trying to hold on and trusted in this process and just want to see like, what magically will happen? Like what will happen if I give up? So that's where the beauty started unfolding me is like when I just literally step by step, let myself surrender to this process and just see what happens, because I knew even intellectually, securely, that nothing was going to be super horribly wrong if I let go of control for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I like how you explain it in a way that people can resonate with, like when we talk about energy. And so to kind of add to what you talked about, think about when you're having a good day, right? And then positive things just keep happening. And then same with when you're having a bad day, right? When you start off your day and things are going bad, it's just like one bad thing happens after the next. And it just creates this like cascade of negativity. And so that is also another way to think about energy. Because I know in the spiritual community, people often talk about energy. Energy is everything. Everything is energy. And sometimes it can be hard to wrap your head around that. And so looking at your life and looking at these examples, whether it's walking down the street and smiling and just having this amazing aura, or just thinking about, those days where you have a really good day and everything just seems to be working out in your favor. And then the days where everything just seems to go wrong, right? That is energy. That is the law of attraction in action. And so I just wanted to say that. And then in terms of how to develop faith and how to trust. So I would say what you said about experimenting is really good. So put on your experimenter hat. Be the scientist of your life. What is the harm in trying, right? And so just tell yourself, you know what? Let me just try. Let me give this a try for a week, a few weeks, a month, whatever resonates with you. And then during this time, keep a journal. Keep a journal of how things are working out for you. How are things changing? That can really help you to develop belief, but also think back to your past and think about all the things that worked out better than you expected. Think about all of the things that turned out better than you imagined or better than your logical plan. And when you can create that list, now you have all this evidence from the past while you're creating new evidence at the same time. And so I would say that is really helpful, is keeping a journal, because when you can actually see it physically on paper, you will have more conviction. I think the other thing, and it's just food for thought, if you can trust that Amazon will deliver your package right? So let's just say you're on Amazon. you put something in your cart. You have full faith that you're going to get that package. Do you care how you're going to get it? Do you care if it comes in a box, a big box, a small box? Do you care if it comes from USPS or UPS? You don't care how it's going to come to you, but you have full faith that it's going to come to you, right? Amazon is a man-made company. Can you then have faith and trust in an infinite power, in the highest power there is, to deliver your desire? And can you let go of the how? Can you let go of the how? And, you know, that is something that no matter where you are on your journey, if you've been manifesting for a long time, if you're new to it, it is challenging to let go of the how. But I feel like what has helped me a lot is, like I said, keeping a journal, keeping a journal of how things have played out. That can remind you when you start to get impatient, when you start to lose faith, when you start to feel that uncertainty. You need to be able to have evidence to support your belief that things will work out as they always have.
Beautiful.
So I would say those are some things that can really help with developing the belief that you are guided on your journey.
And on that note, can you share some practical examples of things you've manifested and how do you go about doing it?
Yes, happy to share a couple of examples. One where I manifested consciously, meaning I was following the framework and I knew that I was doing it intentionally. And then I'll also share an example of when I manifested something following the principles, but I wasn't actually aware that I was doing it. So which one do you want me to share first? The one I manifested consciously or
Let's go consciously. Let's go consciously first.
Consciously. Okay. So I wanted to manifest more money because I wanted to leave my corporate job and I didn't know how that was going to happen because as a mom, you know, and raising a family, it just felt impossible, but I knew it was possible. And so I started working on my money beliefs. At the time I think I was listening to Bob Proctor and he had this affirmation: money flows to me easily and effortlessly from multiple sources in increasing quantities, consistently and continuously. And he said to keep saying this until you actually believe it. And I also remember that when I started this reprogramming process, there was so much resistance. It didn't feel true. It felt like I was saying a lie because growing up, I saw my parents working really hard, breaking their back to make ends meet. And so it instilled a belief that you have to work really hard for money. It's not going to come easily. It's not going to come effortlessly. And so I was working on reprogramming my mind. And this is part of the believe step, the first step. Every time I was driving, when I was doing the dishes, just any time that I had, that I could, I was reciting that over and over again in my mind. And then whenever I started to see money come in that wasn't from, you know, my paycheck, I would make that connection in my brain. I would say, see, money comes to me easily and effortlessly from different sources. And so I was doing a lot of that inner work, and I manifested a 6-figure lump sum that I didn't work for. I had to take some action, inspired action, but it wasn't from my job. It wasn't from having to work around the clock. And so that really just, what's the word I'm looking for? It completely shattered my old belief that you have to work really hard to be wealthy or to earn money. It dismantled that belief for sure. And so that is something that I manifested consciously. And that is actually what helped me to ultimately leave my corporate job to start my business. And so that is one that I will always remember. I remember that moment. I was like, wow, this stuff really works. And I won't go into the details of it because it is, you know, still pretty personal, but I will say that it felt very effortless. There were certain things that I had to do, but it was not hard. It was not difficult. So that's something that I manifested consciously, which I think also helped with the manifestation of wanting to start my own business and being an entrepreneur and part of the manifestation of manifestment. The other thing that I manifested unconsciously, so I didn't really, it wasn't something that I think Bob Proctor says unconscious competence. It's when you have the competence and you're doing it, but you actually don't realize that you're doing it. So it was when I was competing for Mrs. World. My intuition was telling me that I should uproot my family and move to Vietnam. And looking back now, I realized that what I was doing was I was embodying the version of myself who already achieved the goal. And so what I mean by that is a lot of times in pageantry, when you get on stage, the judges will ask you, well, what will you do if you win? Well, if I win, I will do X, Y, Z. If I win, then I will travel the world and give back and volunteer. Back then, I said to myself, why should I wait to do that? Why don't I just do that now? And so I said, hey, Billy, we should, my husband back then, and by the way, we did rekindle. So we are, people are so confused. They're like, wait, I thought you got a divorce. But the word, we didn't remarry. So, but I call him my husband. It's weird. But yeah, we rekindled our relationship. And so back then I said to Billy, I said, hey, I just feel like we should move and we should put all of our stuff in storage. And I want to go to Vietnam and volunteer there. And then we can travel to the nearby countries and like volunteer there. It's just what my intuition is telling me. I know it doesn't sound logical, and you can imagine how he reacted. He was like, what? We're going to go where? Do what? Right. And yeah, looking back now, I realized it was because I was embodying that version of myself. I wasn't waiting for my circumstances to change. I wasn't waiting for, my reality to shift. And I think that really helped me, because when I was on that stage and the judges asked me, well, why should we choose you? Or like, the general question that they usually ask, I was able to talk about what I did do. And I feel like that really helped me stand out. And so that is something that I believe that I manifested through the embodiment work.
Wow.
Which I did at the time, I didn't know. I didn't even know the term embodiment, but I was stepping into who I wanted to be. I wasn't waiting. I took that action and I followed my intuition, which is part of the manifestation process. Is, sometimes your intuition doesn't make logical sense. Yeah. A lot of times it doesn't, but it's guiding you and it's leading you. You gotta trust it.
Isn't that interesting? We know that our intuition, like, it speaks to us. You think about those times you mentioned, think about your diary when you wrote down things would happen better than you anticipated. Like, that was your intuition guiding you. And so, like, the manifestation is this loving energy that's guiding you. And you can think about intuition, your gut feeling, whatever that is. But it's definitely something that I think we've all experienced on a variety of levels. And even though you weren't formally doing this work, you already had that ingrained sense of like, let's trust this and see where this happens, where this takes us. And I know we're talking a lot about this work. I'm curious, we mentioned that we're both moms. Like, how can this manifestation work help specifically moms, and how has it helped you? And I'm happy to share my experience as well.
Yeah. It's helped so much. I feel like I have so much more ease in my life. I feel like there's so much more peace. I feel empowered. I think outside of that, it's been amazing to see how my son has been picking up on all of this. Our kids listen to us, but I think that they learn more from our actions. And so seeing Ethan, when he gets frustrated, just taking a moment to take deep breaths. He does the starfish, which is basically when he gets frustrated, he'll lay down in starfish position to take a few deep breaths. He learned something on PBS, and it was, what is it? Breathe in, breathe out, wiggle about. Now I can figure it out, or something like that. But he runs into my office and he's like, Mommy, I learned this on PBS. It's like what you teach people, right? And so I think for me, there's just been this joy of seeing how Ethan is starting to absorb a lot of this. I guess for me, having, discovered this information as an adult, how much it's impacted me, it just makes me think, wow, for him to learn this at such a young age, he's going to be great. Like, I think he's going to be in a great position. Yeah. And so that to me has been very fulfilling. The last thing is just on this journey of manifestation, I got into all of this because I wanted to learn how to achieve my goals more efficiently. But what I got from it was so much more. This journey of manifestation is not just about achievement. Actually, it's a lot more to do with self-love, self-care, self-worth. It has a lot to do with cultivating peace from within. It has a lot to do with learning to be authentic and living authentically. It has a lot to do with honoring yourself and what you want and your dreams and your goals. And I just love that I'm able to really embody all of that and show my son through my actions. Because I know that our actions will always speak louder than our words. So yeah, that's what I'll say is I really enjoy being able to pass this information on to my son. And I feel like I am just such a more patient mom, a more present mom. I think I'm able to show up as not the best version all the time, let's be honest, but a better version of myself for my son, for my family, for my husband. And so, yeah, you got to really focus on filling your cup so that you can have energy and also that enthusiasm to pour into the people around you and into your work and all of those things. And I really do feel like manifestation, this whole journey has helped me with that.
I love that. For me, I realized something very similar. So one is I realized that there's more for me that I can see, especially getting out of corporate. And not that it's a requirement, but I realized that my limits were so artificial within corporate. They were like next promotion, being like my manager, the next, pay raise, whatever. And then you go out and you realize like the world, like the limits are like within the spectrum of the world and billions of people that you can help. And that really changed my framework. And then I was like, I can go for more. Like it made me think about what are my limits? What is factually my limit, and compare those two, and then like have the courage to then go for it. And what reminds me, what keeps me engaged and motivated in this process, like that I'm showing my kids that they have another option, that the convention, the climbing the ladder, I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but there are other options that I want them to see within themselves. I want them to see that somebody, that they know close to them is doing that, because I know what a difference that makes when in your life somebody is challenging the convention, going for it. And so like as moms, and as a mom myself, like I want other people to see me as an example of another option, and not to say I'm perfect or have it all figured out. I don't, but at least I'm exploring and learning and sharing that with those around me. And then the other thing, like you said, like it gives me more grace for myself. It lets me have more compassion of putting myself first, because that's something that's very taboo, is like a mom who's actually putting herself first. What? Shame on her. Right? Like, but actually it makes me a better mom. I don't feel as frustrated as my kids because I'm not subconsciously blaming them for not allowing me to live a certain kind of life. Like that's very uncomfortable. It's like, you know what? I actually feel very frustrated because I'm saying, well, as a mom, I can't do X, Y, Z. And that's putting a lot of unfair blame and frustration with my kids onto them, although it's really my own issue. So working through all of that, I'm not a perfect mom by any shape or form, but I do have more compassion for myself and for my kids. I'm showing up more present, less rushed, like actually creating space to enjoy time with my kids versus rushing for whatever God knows to achieve next. So quote unquote. And when I do falter, I have more grace and I recover faster. That's also what I know, is because I can catch myself.
That's such a good point. Yeah. I think the awareness, you're right. For me too, I notice when I'm being impatient. I notice when I'm just getting frustrated. And then in that moment, I'm able to, take a few deep breaths or whatever other tools in my toolbox and be able to ground myself and recover faster. That's such a good point.
And there's this element of human design. What is human design, and why did you add this to your program?
Oh, wow. Human design. I think we're going to have like a whole nother episode just for human design. But to understand human design, it's understanding first and foremost that we're all unique. We all came into this world with a very unique quality, unique blueprint, if you want to call it that, but we're just all different. And so because of that, we can't expect a one size fits all approach when it comes to achieving success, when it comes to living optimally. And so when you understand what your human design is, and it's different for everyone, you're able to understand what you need to do as an individual to achieve your goals more efficiently. You're able to understand how your intuition shows up. You're able to understand what your gifts are, what your purpose is. Understanding your human design gives you a lot of information. It's based on when you were born, the time you were born. And you know what? Let me just be real. When I first came across human design, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I was very skeptical. And so I didn't actually start applying it right away. And the reason why is because I kind of felt like it was like astrology.
Yeah.
And I think that with astrology, sometimes it can kind of put you in a box. And so it didn't resonate with me, but it came back into my awareness a few times and I heard it on podcasts and I said, you know what, let me try.
Right.
Let me put on that experimenter hat. Let me be a scientist of my life. And so I gave it a try. And I started applying a few things and I was able to see results. And I also was able to make connections of things that worked out for me in the past. And I saw commonalities and I was able to like make certain connections. So I said, okay, well, let me dive deeper into this. And so I liked what you said last time when we were talking, and you were saying how human design is kind of like your life manual, right? It's like this manual that you have of how to approach life because we're all different. And so human design, you can learn what your unique human design is by going to, there's different sites that you can go on to pull your chart. That chart will give you information. And from there, you can dive deeper. There's a ton of YouTube videos and blogs out there that can help you to understand more about your unique human design. But in terms of the program, I incorporate certain elements of human design that I believe makes the biggest difference when you're manifesting. So as it relates to the manifestation process. But as you know, human design can be very complex.
Yes.
Again, we can have like a whole nother episode on human design alone, but I know you have a really good perspective too on human design. Is there anything that you like feel like would be helpful for the audience to know, like any context or anything?
No, exactly how you put it. I think it's an element of trusting your gut, right? I think that we all have an intuition, like how things piece together. And sometimes seeing it described for you gives you a more holistic understanding of yourself. You're like, oh, you know what? I do sense that, and that comes together and that resonates. And the thing for me, as I was just dipping the toe into human design, it gave me more confidence to be like, you know what? I always sensed this was right, but seeing this makes me want to lean into it even more. So if that happens for you, it could be another validation. You know what? I naturally sense this, but sometimes we need the extra little push to be like, okay, I'm going to push even more confidently in this because it's naturally aligned. So that's what it was for me. If people kind of feel that way, but again, explore it, honor your intuition, see if it's right for you. And again, it could just be one of those toolkits. Not everybody's going to have the same toolkit, but if you explore and have an open mind, you're going to find the most powerful toolkit for you.
Yeah. As an example, with human design, you will be able to know how to make the best decisions, like your process of decision making. We've always been taught to weigh the pros and cons, like sit down, write out the pros and cons and see what is like the most logical thing to do. But actually, depending on your human design, that will help you to understand the best process for you to arrive at the right decision that's most aligned for you. And so for me, it's soundboarding. It's actually me talking to other people, not necessarily to get their advice, but for me to hear my own voice. And so now when I have an important decision to make, or even if it's, a simple decision sometimes, I'll actually talk to someone because I understand that is my process. And through that conversation, whatever feels right for me is the right decision. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter if it's quote unquote logical. And I have found that has led me to where I am today in my business is by listening to that intuition. And again, I think we talked about this earlier in the episode. Everyone's intuition shows up differently. And so you can't, expect that you're going to make the decisions the same way as everybody else in the world. You have to tune into like what works for you. I think that's what makes it different from astrology. I think it's a lot more customized, more actionable. There's a lot of information that, depending on like where you're at on your journey and what's important to you, you can take bits and pieces and kind of dive deeper. It also helps with your relationships as well. Yeah. And so for Ethan, for example, he needs to be able to like release his energy before bed. Like he likes to jump around and he kind of goes crazy before bed. Whereas like for me, I'm like, that seems so like counterintuitive. Like you need to slow down. You should meditate. Like you should, take some time to do some breath work or something. But when I got a reading done and I was able to learn more about his chart, that's actually good for him. And so when you can understand that, you stop trying to force people to be the way you think they should be and just allow them to be who they are. And I think that really has shifted our whole family dynamic. Honestly, we're so much more understanding of each other and we're not trying to morph each other. We just are a lot more accepting, and we have a lot more compassion, empathy.
Yeah.
And so I'll say just, that alone has been very helpful, is understanding each other's human design and honoring like just how we are naturally.
I love that. I did that chart for all of my kids as well, and my husband and my mom and all my friends. I was like, do you want your human design chart? And like, okay. And some were like, no, Anya. And I was like, okay, let me try it. So absolutely did that for everybody.
When's your birthday? Where were you born?
I won't use this for any other purposes, I promise. I'm just excited. Like, here we are. I want to talk about your next course. So last year, I think, was the debut of this amazing program where people got to experience all of these 3 different levels. Share a little bit more about like, what is the course? I'd love to hear all about it.
Yeah. So the course, it's 12 weeks. And the next cohort actually kicks off in February. So I'm so excited, but it is a self-growth spiritual journey. And I think that it is just perfect for the person who knows that they want more, who, maybe they don't know exactly what that is, but just they know that they're not satisfied. They're not happy with where they're at, and they're ready to make a change. They're ready to try something new. And so in the program, we cover a lot of different things. I mean, definitely the manifestation is the main part of it. But as I mentioned earlier, manifestation is so much more than just achieving your goals. It's self-discovery, it's self-worth, it's really just creating that time and space for yourself. And so this program gives you that container to do that. And I think that what makes it very special is that it is in a group setting. And so community is really important to me when I was developing this program, because on this journey, it can be quite lonely in the beginning when you're, when you find that your friends or your family are just maybe not interested in the same things. Maybe they think it's a little woo-woo or whatever. And so being surrounded by other people who understand, obviously we're not all trying to manifest the same things, but to just be on that journey of self-growth, it is very comforting, very inspiring, very motivating. So I'll just say that that's one of my favorite aspects of the program, is the community. And then I think the other thing about the program is the accountability piece. So because it's delivered live, there is more accountability there to actually to show up and to do the work. I think a lot of self-paced courses out there, it's just really easy to procrastinate and not do it, quite frankly. So having it delivered live, that is something that really will help you to not only learn, but apply. And it's through applying it that you actually see the results and the transformations. And then the program itself is just really great for people who appreciate organization and framework. So earlier I mentioned it's so overwhelming with all the content out there. And I want to be able to put a framework to it. No, like these are the steps that I need to do. Whatever it is that I'm trying to manifest, like this is what I need to do each time, right? And of course, it's going to vary a little bit, but for the most part, there is a roadmap. Yeah, I would say those are the main aspects. We talk a lot about law of attraction, law of vibration, manifestation in general, just personal development as a whole, and then getting clear on what it is you want and figuring out the steps that you need to take to actually bring that vision to life. So it's a full 12 weeks. I know a lot of times people are like, that seems like a long time. But you know what? That's what it takes. We live in such an instantaneous world where we kind of like expect that things will just happen overnight, but you have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself the time and space to get to know yourself and then to actually apply the information that you learn so that you can see things start to shift for you. So that's a little bit about the program at a high level.
Thank you so much for diving into that. And what I remember, so I saw on LinkedIn the overview of, the wrap-up ceremony, and there were tears and there were so many emotions and these amazing testimonials that I think you can also find on this website. So I'm just excited for you to build on this and then to see more transformations that happen here. But here we are starting 2024. Everybody has these big expectations for this is a great course to, again, dive into manifestation, human design, law of attraction, making things happen, because we have an incredible year ahead. So if people are interested and they can hear just how passionate you are about helping people transform, where can they find more information about this course?
Yeah, so you can find more information by going to www.manifestment /MME. And Anya, I think that you will put it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's where you're able to learn more about the program, the curriculum, as well as listen to the testimonials from the members in the previous cohort. And with that said, Anya, I do want to offer a discount for your viewers, for your audience in your community. And so if you're listening and you're interested, I do want to offer a 10% discount for the next cohort that's kicking off in February. And so yeah, check out the website. If it resonates with you, if you feel like it's a sign for you to start this journey, schedule a call with me. I talk to everybody one-on-one just to make sure that there's a good fit on both sides. And I will be finalizing the enrollment list by the end of January. And so definitely reach out and learn more about it. I would be more than happy to connect to share more information.
I love that. Thank you so much for your generous discount. And everybody listening, what if this year could be amazing? What if that sense of doing more gets actualized? Like, how would your life be different if that big goal became achievable? Wouldn't that be incredible? And here's your opportunity to like make that path real instead of dreaming about it for maybe, again, a month, a day, a week, a year, years, right? What if this is your sign to start going in that direction now? So if this at all resonates, again, just reach out to Jennifer. She's an amazing human being who I've known for years now beyond this call. She's always inspired me with just her genuine care, compassion for herself and for others. And so no risk involved. Set up a call, see if this is right for you, because we all deserve to live at our fullest potential. And that's what Jennifer is passionate about. That's what I'm passionate about. And that's why we're doing this. So to all of you, thank you so much for listening. Let's make 2024 incredible. And don't miss out on this opportunity to empower yourself along the way. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining and sharing all of your tips, wisdom, tricks, and this amazing course with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Anya. I'm so grateful.
And it's a pleasure. Let's make 2024 amazing. Take care, friends.